Good afternoon. We are here to talk about conditions of work. So, according to William Faulkner, one of the saddest things is that the only thing a man can do for 8 hours a day after day, is work. You can't eat hours a day, nor drink for 8 hours a day, nor make love for 8 hours a day. So, a company can select the best employees, train them thoroughly for their job, provide them the best supervision, and can provide an optimal organizational climate. However, if the physical conditions in which work is being done is poor, productivity will surely decrease. So, furthermore, poor working conditions can cause higher accident rates and lower the quality of production. So, in this chapter, physical conditions of work such as noise, temperature, or elimination, the temporal conditions of work such as hours of work, and physiological conditions of work with their relationship to employee productivity and efficiency will be discussed. So, physical conditions of work. Physical conditions of work including a wide range of factors. The location of the place of the employment influences employee through proximity to the shops, restaurants, bank, and other amenities. Inadequate heating and air conditioning systems, elevators, company, cafeterias, and other restrooms can also impair efficiency on the job, even though they had no direct bearing on the actual job. So, mga handicapped workers are often prevented from accepting certain jobs by the design features of building that inhibit easy access. Federal registration now requires the removal of architectural barriers to the handicaps. Kay luoy man mga handicaps no, ug walay mga easy access para nila. So recent trends such as the move of many businesses concerns to the suburbs has made a great influence on the kind of working conditions employee work in. So employees have become dissatisfied at having to commute greater distance to work. So kapoy jud kay mag-commute no. So need jud siya mag-isolation from urban amenities and the dullness of the suburban office parks. So another factor of satisfying the employee is the design and size of offices. So offices layout can influence the way employees and management interact with one another. So physical separation, for example, management offices on different floors will decrease the amount of unplanned contact. Thus, this could lead to poorer working relationships among the manager, since they have very little contact among each other. So all these factors, though they don't involve actual work, had influence on productive efficiency of the employees. Through poor design of office facilities, employees' morale and satisfaction may be adversely affected along with the employee productivity. And so, environmental psychology is concerned with the impact of the environment of human behavior. So, research has been conducted and designed offices, including the landscape office, in which people are grouped in functional units with no floor to ceiling barriers between them. So, in addition to large scale design problems, psychologists are concerned with the specific environmental factors, including the effects of illumination, noise, color, music, and temperature and humidity. So, to illumination standards exist determining the desirable intensity levels for different workplaces. So the distribution of light and glare are also problems that must be considered in the design of proper lighting of work. Though many studies have been conducted on what the optimal illumination should be, there has still been no agreement on what constitutes the ideal lighting for optimum productivity and efficiency. However, it is obvious that the amount of illumination required depends on the type of work being done. So generally, the amount of contrast needed between the object being worked on and the general background influences the intensity of lighting needed. So noise is also a common problem in many work areas and can lead to temporary or permanent deafness, in which an effort to reduce this health hazard, federal registration is established maximum noise level to which worker may be exposed. So noise can also produce other psychological effects, including increased muscle tension and blood pressure and constriction of blood vessels. So although noise can be a physical and psychological health hazard, its effect on productive efficiency are not clear. So, if ang workplace is very noisy dyan siya guys, dapat yun na dyan siya health hazard ano, para po ma-aware po ng ato mga workers nga dili po sila mabungol. Temperature and humidity ranges have been established for workplaces. How comfortable a certain temperature feels depends on the humidity and the amount of air movement. So uncomfortable climate conditions can lower production, particularly on jobs involving physical humidity or physical labor. It also seems that physical labor is more affected by differences in temperature and humidity. Under laboratory conditions, it has been shown that mental work is hardly affected by heat and humidity. So temperature and humidity can have a good and bad effects on production. However, research conducted by the military has shown that highly motivated workers can maintain constant work rates under extremes of heat and cold. It would be prudent for the company to install air conditioning control system in their offices and factories so as to maintain a desirable level of temperature and humidity. So temporal conditions of work. The number of hours worked in a day has also an effect of the moral and productivity of workers. Currently, a 40-hour per week work schedule is the status quo. However, alternative work schedules are being formulated which will hopefully one day replace the current 40-hour work week. So hours of week. The 5-day 40-hour week is currently the norm for work schedules. However, as the years have passed, the amount of time that the employees must devote in a job has steadily decreased. There are ample evidence that has shown that in the regular work week, only 20 hours are devoted to actual work. The rest of the time is spent in authorized and unauthorized breaks. So kana na mga unnecessary breaks nga ilang yung binabuhat. So it should also be noted that if nominal hours of work are increased, that is to say if work week is increased, productivity goes down. Additional consequences are marked increase in accidents, illness, and absenteeism. Based on what have been said, it can be concluded that shorter work weeks will result in greater productivity. According to some research, the answer is yes. So, permanent part-time employment has been said earlier, a lower work week can result in a greater productivity. One of the alternative work schedules can be implemented in permanent part-time employment. So the term itself is self-explanatory, so there is no need to define it further. This work schedule are also at disadvantage. They don't get as many fringe benefits. Their full-time colleagues, they get lower compensation for the work that they do. They tend to be given lower-level jobs. They have very small opportunities for promotion. The 4-day work week is also another possible alternative to the current work schedule. To achieve this, there are two possible alternatives. Have a 10-hour work a day, thus training to 40-hour week work schedule by having a 9-hour work day, thus the result in 36-hour work week. Both management and the employees have been very enthusiastic with lower kind of schedule. These improvements seem to happen only in the first stages of implementation. The popularity of this plan seems to be going down since it has been seen to be too physically taxing, and it has also served as hindrance to the social activities of the workers. So flexible working hours allow workers to start and end their work a day. So according to their wishes, this schedule has following advantages. Number 1 is increased productivity. Number 2 is reduced absenteeism. Number 3 is reduction of tardiness because of the listening, elimination of rush hour traffic problems. Number 4 is increased employee morale. This kind of work schedule is suited for a variety of jobs such as research and development, clerical and light and heavy manufacturing. However, jobs with high interdependency like assembly line work aren't suited to this work schedule. Rest pauses has been recognized ever since the Hawthorne studies. Their beneficiality has been demonstrated and their urgency has been proven since employees will take breaks whether they are provided or not. So mas tintud ang flexible working hours if dili ka kanang okay ra kayo imong work. So, okay. So the advantages of providing responses for employees is number 1, decline of unauthorized pauses. Number 2 is improve employee attitude towards the employer. Number 3 is increase morale and production. It must be noted that rest pauses are essential in jobs that involve physical labor since this will prevent fatigue. To be effective, the following factors should be taken into consideration when giving rest pauses. At the time of the day will rest pauses be most effective. Number 2 is how long should they last. And 3 is how often should they be provided. So, shift work, another temporal that affects the productivity of workers, is the time of the day or night they work. Due to the advent of 24-hour services and manufacturing processes, shifts have become a necessity in the workplace. However, shift work can be very disruptive to a worker's diurnal rhythms, causing social and psychological problems. So, it should be thinking na siya dapat. So psychological factors are also important conditions of the working environment. These factors essentially deal with how workers feel about their jobs and how satisfied they are with their job. Employees' morale and motivation are very important influences on an employee's productivity. Thus, it is important to keep workers motivated as possible. So physical conditions of work deal with the design of jobs and its effects of the workers. As a result of scientific management time motion study and assembly manufacturing, many jobs has been simplified or fractioned to the point where they produce boredom and fatigue as well as harmful effects on mental and physical health. So boredom and monotony resulting from dull and repetitive work. Boredom usually affects assembly line workers who have been to do one task over and over for one whole day. 5 days a week, the effects of boredom are 1. Restlessness, 2. Tiredness, 3. Lower productivity. So generally speaking, a person with higher intelligence tends to get bored more easily. Bored workers are definitely non-assets of a company, thus there is a need of measures which will alleviate boredom. Some measures are job enrichment programs, job rotation, improvement of working condition under which is performed, scheduling work process, and teaching workers the value and importance of their jobs. Fatigue is closely related to boredom in its effects on behavior. Fatigue can be both physiological and psychological. So nevertheless, both types of fatigues can cause decreases in the productivity of workers. To prevent fatigue, it is necessary to employ proper employee selection, have a proper diet, rest periods, and proper working place pacing. So need you siya mag-rest. Okay, so last but not the least is that telecommunicating is a new trend in the field of work. In this system, the employee doesn't go to the office to work anymore. Instead, he stays at home and does his job there. Its systems offer many advantages such as increased employee productivity, reduced absenteeism, and greater time for the employee for his family and other activities. However, there are also some disadvantages. With this system, the social contact among co-workers is reduced to a minimum, if not eliminated completely. Lack of supervision may result in work not being done and managers feeling that they lost their power over their subordinates if they work at home. So many managers, union, and employees are not in favor of this idea. So daghan jud kayo no samot na karong panahon na ng COVID ta. Daghan jud kayo work from home. So uban jud is dili jud sila ang favor sa work from home kay grabe man pud kalisod, pero if dili man pud mag work from home, mag on-site man pud is grabe man pud kalisod kay ang traffic and everything, ang time. So that's all. Thank you. This is Saika Nyanandel again from BITC Teacher Evening. Thank you for listening and God bless you all.